Hola y bienvenidos a la Daily Hustle. Soy Enrique Byrnes y presidente es el mejor cerveza. No abate por No Filter Network. Miguelito San Dieguito not with us today. Will the Thrill Clark not with us today. He will be back on Tuesday. But regardless, we come on here each and every single morning and we not only properly salute our boys, but we properly salute each and every one of you. Yes, 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 yes. Woo! Remember this, folks. When we are juiceful, we are useful. And when we are juiceless, we are fucking useless. A very pleasant good afternoon to you. It's 12:26 p.m. Pacific time, Friday, January 17th, 2025. Forgive me for taking a little bit of a break from the Daily Hustle. I'm ramping up for our Daily Hustle Challenge. That's right. The promotion of the DH 22-day challenge starts now. February 1st will be day one of the challenge. If you've done the challenge in the past, it is fucking awesome. Each day, you will wake up in the morning, you will have a challenge waiting for you in your inbox. Often, they are physical challenges. They could be some sort of mental challenge, psychological challenge, whatever. The whole point is to get us to develop a routine. And when we are able to develop a routine, it basically puts our life in order and helps us efficiently and effectively move forward through life, which in turn puts us in the best position to succeed. On that note, let's get to our title sponsor, Bet Online, the number one online gambling destination for all the latest news, scores, odds, predictions, whatever else. Go to Bet Online right now. We have the NBA fired. We have college hoops firing. You have the NFL playoffs this weekend. The national championship game is Monday. Go to Bet Online to lay your action on the Notre Dame Fighting Irish getting 9.5 points. Jeez. That's a lot. A lot of big spreads this weekend, including the Washington Commanders getting 9.5 points in Detroit. That seems like a big number as well, although it would not shock me if Detroit just went guns a-blazing. The other big spread is the Kansas City Chiefs. What have they done this year to make me think they're going to blow out the Texans? I get it. 14-2, whatever it is, 15-2, I guess, or 15-1 going in that last game that they just rolled over on. But anyhow, go to Bet Online for all of the action and type in the promo code BLEAV, capital BLEAV, for 50% off your first deposit. Bet Online, the game starts here. Okay, the other title sponsor, the F-It List, life lessons from a human crash test dummy, along with the Let Them Play, a parenting and coaching guide to youth sports. Both of those books with the Daily Hustle 222, unfiltered life guidance from a human crash test dummy, available at ericbyrnes.com. And that's the exact spot you can pick up, whatever. A foot reflexology board. Here's one. I'd give you guys this one, but it's missing some pegs. It happens when it's spent several years out here in the elements of the greater Lake Tahoe area. All right, the Daily Hustle quote of the day is, wait for it, hustle doesn't take plays off. Ever. Never, ever, ever. If you're going to be a hustler, you got to hustle every single play. So I have a whole DH that I'll get into more with you guys on Monday about that. That is very well written. So anyhow, yesterday I got up in the morning and it was about 6 a.m. And I had a picture pop up January 16th, 2016. 8 years ago yesterday, I went to this scouts dinner. We actually emceed it along with Matt Vasgersian. And at the dinner, I ran into Bob Uecker. Bob and I backstage at least an hour, cut it up. What an awesome dude. Now, I had met Bob before because he was the guy that would come hang around the batting cage when we were taking BP and we were playing the Milwaukee Brewers. He was their broadcaster, obviously, but just an inspiration in every sense of the word. From his major league career, which sure he can make all the fun he wants of himself as he did throughout the years and did a really good job at it and got people laughing. But I think the biggest thing, that I've taken from that is when we're able to stay humble and we're able to laugh with ourselves. And it's not necessarily at ourselves, right? But we're able to laugh with ourselves. And I saw a clip of him talking about his kids saying, Dad, like, why do you talk about yourself like that? Like, that's not very nice. And he's like, because it makes people laugh. And I get that. I really do. And I understand it. And I think this is a guy that, look, you could diminish his major league accomplishments all you want. He was a career 200 hitter. He hit 14 home runs or whatever. None of it fucking matters. It really doesn't. He was an incredible teammate. And this is why I made my kids watch an 8-minute video clip on Bob, just about him, about his life. And they had Tim McCarver in there saying that they don't win the World Series. The Cardinals don't win the World Series without Bob Uecker. Think about that. You have a backup catcher. And Tim was saying that's how instrumental he was for the morale of that team. And we've seen it time and time again. Those glue guys, the guys that bring a clubhouse together, the guys that sometimes it's not even about giving a rah-rah speech. Most of the time, it's actually not. It's about smiling in the face of adversity. It's about being able to laugh. It's about being able to poke fun at yourself, at one another, and really just keeping everybody humble. And that's who Bob was. And I will never see never in our lifetimes will we see another guy like Bob Uecker. We just won't. The way he transcended the sport of baseball was just fucking incredible. The fact that he went from playing to the broadcast booth to Mr. Belvedere to the late night show with Johnny Carson. He had more appearances on Johnny Carson than just about anybody else in the history of the show. Think about that. It's just amazing. He was a real one. And I think that's what was so special about him. And there's another clip I saw where basically he was saying that, look, all the other stuff, and there was a lot of other stuff between Major League, the movie, obviously, and everything else that he partook in, whether it was movies or TV shows or whatever. But the one thing that always meant the most to him was baseball, was calling games for the Milwaukee Brewers. That is what made Bob who Bob was. It was the fact that he was loyal and understood how and why he was getting all these opportunities. So, quick double sky point. And like I said, that memory came up on my phone. I posted the picture immediately, instinctually. Just, hey, let's just celebrate a living legend. And not but an hour later, the news feed came across Bob Uecker passed away at the age of 90. It was just, my heart sank. As a matter of fact, when I saw the first picture, and I don't know how AI works or whatever, but I'm like, yeah, uh-oh. And I wanted to make sure he was okay. And I actually looked, and there was nothing. And then an hour later, here came everything. So certainly brokenhearted, but Bob was the inspiration behind No Filter Network. The way he called those games as Harry Doyle, the way he called Brewers games, where you could get that sense when he let his hair down. That's what I wanted to listen to. That's what I wanted to be a part of. And so when we created No Filter Network, we thought about Bob and giving him a platform. Now, just no. Thank you for the memories. Thank you for the mentorship. And thank you for being you, Bob. It was fucking a pleasure to get to know you, a pleasure to get to laugh. And we'll see you on the other side, man. Anyhow, moving on. Roki Sasaki, the Japanese pitcher, apparently is out of the running to join the San Diego Padres. That's right. The Padres were one of the last 3 teams to be involved in the Sasaki chase, and they're gone. A lot of people believe they were going to be the front runners and they were going to steal him from Los Angeles. It is now down to the Los Angeles Dodgers and everybody's favorite bridesmaid, the Toronto Blue Jays. Holy shit. How close can the Blue Jays get? They had Ohtani on a flight there last year, apparently. They have been all in on every big free agent, including Juan Soto, this past offseason. Aaron Judge, the 1 or 2 before, they're in on everybody, and they've gotten fucking nobody. Now, they do have Vlad Jr. there, but he's going to be a free agent after next year. If I'm the Blue Jays, and if you're willing to give up all this money to all these different guys that, have never played in Toronto and been there or done that, I would just break the bank for Vlad Jr. Let's start there. Let's start by keeping your own. So it's good to see the Blue Jays are here once again in the finals for this pursuit. But you also have to understand these agents know what the fuck they're doing. They, of course, are going to keep the Blue Jays there, even if they have no intentions of ever playing a day in Toronto. And the reason being is that they offer big bucks. And they drive that number up because they have to overpay because of the taxes in Canada as well. So the Padres are out. We're down to the Dodgers and the Bluebirds. There's no fucking way. There's just not. I would be shocked if he signs with the Blue Jays. So, in other words, Roki Sasaki is going to be a fucking Dodger. All right, the rich get richer. The next topic of conversation I wanted to hit on briefly. Justin Verlander, who has signed with the San Francisco Giants, has worn number 35 his entire career. And now that he's going to be playing in San Francisco, one would think, hey, no problem, he'll be wearing number 35 again. Well, San Francisco Giant fans remember the latest number 35, and that is Brandon Crawford. Crawford had a very nice career with the Giants, won a couple World Series, fantastic defensively, Gold Glove, Platinum Glove shortstop, one of the best who has ever played that position in a San Francisco Giants uniform. But the issue here is that Verlander wants to wear 35. 35 is not retired. It would be logical to think that Justin Verlander would come in and wear number 35. Although, I will say this, Mike Krukow had some thoughts. He said, I don't want anybody to wear number 35, Krukow said. I think that Brandon Crawford, the best shortstop in the history of the Giants, and that's 141 years of history. So I really don't want to see Verlander wear that. Krukow then did go on to say, well, if anyone's going to wear it, it would likely be, or you would want it to be, a future Hall of Famer. But I got thinking about this a little bit, and this didn't make sense to me because here we have Will Clark, who wore number 22, and obviously was an iconic player that represented an entire era of San Francisco Giants baseball. The numbers speak for themselves. Some will argue Hall of Fame type numbers. All due respect to Brandon Crawford, 249 batting average. I just wasn't going to cut it. He had a Hall of Fame glove, no doubt about it. And he had some offensive years that were pretty good. But he will not get inducted into Cooperstown. It's just not going to happen. Now, Will, on the other hand, I think should one day end up in Cooperstown. Well, after Will Clark left the San Francisco Giants, here's a list of guys that wore number 22. You ready? Rickard Finette, David McCarty, Oswaldo Fernandez, Damon Minor, Eric Davis, Kurt Ainsworth, Manny Ibar, Jose Cruz Jr., Dustin Moore, Mike Matheny, Matt Morris, Ryan Rollinger, Ivan Ochoa, Alex Hinshaw, Kikichi Abu, Eli Whiteside, Cole Gillespie, Roger Kishnick, Dan Ugla, Jake Peavy, Christian Arroyo, and Andrew McCutcheon, which that was last worn in 2018. And then, of course, in 2022, Will's number was finally retired. So I will say this to Brandon Crawford. I don't think Crawford cares. I think Crawford is actually, yeah, absolutely. Go ahead. We're number 35. I don't know if 35 will ever be retired in San Francisco. I do not know this. But I will tell you, right now, it's fucking not. And so to think that Justin Verlander would have to come in walking on eggshells, worried about wearing number 35 when I just listed all the players that wore number 22 after Will Clark is fucking asinine. Verlander, take your 35. Don't fucking worry about it. I don't think Crawford cares. I don't think anybody cares. There might be some super sensitive uber Brandon Crawford fans. I have no idea. But if anything, I will tell you, I'd be honored, especially when a guy like Justin Verlander, a guy who's a Hall of Fame player, is going to come in and wear that number. I don't know if they learn their lesson after Will and they don't want to get into another, hey, I'm just handing 35 out to anybody. So on that note, it seems a little ridiculous, but I would be shocked and surprised if Verlander wore anything but 35. And here's the thing about a number. You want these guys to be comfortable. I'm serious. You want them to not have any excuses, right? That's why we talk about routines all the time. Why do we as human beings get up, go through our morning, we have our routine? We do it because we're putting ourselves in a position to succeed, because we don't want any of the bullshit distracting us from the job at hand. Well, with Verlander, I don't want any excuses. I want to hand him the ball every 5-6 days and say, go out there and be your best. And the last thing I need to worry about as a San Francisco Giant fan is him not being happy with the fucking number he's wearing. So anyhow, that is that. One other thing here. Sammy Sosa is returning to the Chicago Cubs after banishment. What took so long is the question. You're right. I mean, this is ridiculous. Quote, he's as important to that organization's history as anybody. Former Cubs GM Ed Lynch told USA Today, you can talk in the same breath about Sammy's impact on the franchise, right along with Ernie Banks, Billy Williams, Ron Santo, Fergie Jenkins, Ryan Samberg, and those guys. The Cubs owe him a huge debt of gratitude, and he should get a hero's welcome for all he did for that organization. He captivated the entire nation. He's one of the most important actors in a play called the Chicago Cubs. Yeah. I mean, this is a no-brainer. I mean, why was he ever banished from the Cubs? Why was he never not embraced? Why is this such a long time coming? This article is from Bob Nightingale. It says Dusty Baker, who managed Sosa for 2 years with the Cubs, including the fateful 2004 finale, was criticized by Sosa upon his departure. Baker kept his feelings towards Sosa private. He never responded to Sosa's criticism. Now, more than 20 years later, Baker says all is forgiven and that he can forgive Sosa for any transgression. Cubs fans, former teammates, and executives should too. I'm shocked it's taken this long for the Cubs to welcome him back, Baker said. What took so long? Come on, was it really the last game when he left? That's not enough for all the enjoyment he brought everybody. He brought enjoyment. He and Big Mac brought enjoyment to the world. They saved baseball, and he's right. Sammy Sosa was as big of a superstar as there has been in the game in my lifetime. I'm not kidding. That's how big that 1998 home run chase was. Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire captivated an entire fucking world. And we were hanging on every single pitch as they had this miraculous home run chase. Not to mention the fact that dude hit 60, I think, 3 different times. I don't care about the steroids or whatever else he was taking. It didn't matter. The dude still had to hit the ball, and he absolutely crushed. There's few hitters that I've seen ever that had the pop that he did, the step back, and then he would just unleash fucking fury. And on top of that, let's not forget the youthful exuberance and joy that this dude played with. The fact that he would full send sprint out to right field and then hold his hand up to his ear, and the bleacher creatures would just go fucking nuts. How about when he came out after 9/11 with the American flag? Like, just awesome, man. Sammy Sosa was baseball. He was that big. And so to have the Cubs welcome him back, yes, thank you. But realistically, what the fuck took so long? What is wrong with you people? Like, why wasn't he there in the midst of that World Series run? He was everything to that franchise. So it didn't end well. I get it. It hardly ever does, right? Breakups are hard. But same thing with Joe Montana in San Francisco. Eventually, when it's all said and done and you get done with your career, you just slowly start bringing it back. Even with Will. When Will Clark left San Francisco, he didn't leave on great terms. But after he was done playing and he was working as an assistant, I met Will and we developed a relationship. He was actually working as a special assistant for the Arizona Diamondbacks. And I kept thinking to myself, I'm like, yeah, I love having Will and I love our sushi dinners, but he should be with the Giants. So good on the Cubs for waking the fuck up, and good on Sosa for being accepting of it. Let's see what kind of role here that he's going to play. Yeah, I don't know. He's back. All right. That's it. A lot of love to everybody. Got to roll. Pickleball game. Have a fantastic weekend. Back on Monday. Regular daily hustles now. We're going to try to hit it about 9 a.m. Pacific time going forward. Tuesday, Thrill will be back. He texted me yesterday, has all kinds of thoughts on Bob Uecker. He's had some great memories with him. So he's like, man, I just can't wait to get on and tell some of the Ueck stories. That will be next Tuesday. And then, like I mentioned, February 1st, we will have the Daily Hustle 22-day challenge starting. Looking forward to it. And you can spend the next couple weeks putting this bad boy together. All right. Have a fantastic day and a fantastic weekend. See ya.